Hey guys, welcome back. So I've got a really interesting comparison today that I think a lot of you are probably struggling with right now. On my left hand is the iPhone 16 Pro. This is my Desert Titanium unit. And on my right is the brand new iPhone 17 in this lavender color. And honestly, this is probably the hardest choice we've had in years. Usually the Pro is always the obvious winner, right? But this year, with the base model iPhone 17 getting some massive upgrades, the line is getting super blurry. This 16 Pro first used in January 2025. It's actually my backup unit now, and I've been testing the 17 for about a month as a secondary driver alongside my 17 Pro. So I want to just sit down and talk through this. No crazy cinematic montages, just real world use. We're gonna look at the design, that new display tech on the 17, the performance, battery life, and specifically how iOS 26 runs on both of these. If you're sitting on an older iPhone, maybe an iPhone 13 or 14 or even a 15, and you're confused about whether to grab the discounted 16 Pro or the new 17, stick around. I think by the end of this, you'll know exactly which one is for you. So let's set the stage a bit. When this iPhone 16 Pro came out, the big deal was really the refinement. It was like peak design material. Apple leaned hard into this fancy titanium, which made it lightweight but super strong. My unit here is the Desert Titanium, and honestly, for me, it's the best color. It's just sleek, elegant, not too flashy. But now that the 17 series is out, the price on the 16 Pro has dropped significantly. And that's the dilemma. Do you buy last year's flagship for a steal or the new shiny thing? The iPhone 17, specifically this lavender one, brought something to the table that we've been asking for years. It finally bridges the gap. But is it enough to beat a Pro? Let's get into the design and display because that's the first thing you're gonna notice. Okay, physically they are actually pretty similar. Both have moved up to that 6.3-inch display size, up from the old 6.1-inch standard. And I gotta say, 6.3 is the sweet spot. It's not too big, not too small. The 16 Pro here, again, uses that titanium. It feels premium, cool to the touch. It has the action button and of course the camera control button. I'll be honest with you guys, back when this launched, Apple hyped the camera control as this game changer, but after using it for almost a year, it's nice to have, but I wouldn't say it's functionally essential. It's cool, but I mostly just use the on-screen shutter. Now, looking at the iPhone 17, the design is pretty much the same shape, but the edges feel a bit softer compared to the sharp edges we had on the 12, 13, or 14. It's just comfy. But here is the headline features. For the first time, the base model iPhone 17 has ProMotion. Finally, it goes from 1 Hz all the way to 120 Hz. And looking at them side by side, the 17 actually looks incredibly modern because the bezels are razor thin now. It makes the screen feel more immersive than older base models. I know last year's iPhone 16 base model was fast, but because it was stuck at 60 Hz, it sometimes looked choppy even though the processor was good. Now that the 17 has that buttery smooth 120 Hz, combined with the brightness which is higher on the 17, it feels like a Pro phone. It's a dream come true for anyone who didn't want to pay the Pro price tags just for a smooth screen. Now let's talk power. I've been running benchmarks and doing some heavy gaming on both. On the iPhone 16 Pro, I'm getting Geekbench 6 scores of about 3,448 on single core and 8,748 on multi-core. And you know, in real life, that is still absolute beast mode. I use this phone for everything, basic tasks, moderate work, and heavy gaming. It plays next-gen AAA titles easily. A quick note on heat. The 16 Pro improved the thermals a lot over the 15 Pro, which used to get annoying hot. The 16 Pro still gets warm during long sessions, I'm not gonna lie, but it's not that annoying, stinging heat. It's manageable. But then you look at the iPhone 17. It's rocking the new A19 chip. The scores here are insane. 3,573 single core and 9,143 multi-core. That is actually faster than last year's 16 Pro Max. I haven't done as much hardcore gaming on the 17 yet, but pairing that A19 chip with the new 120 Hz display, the whole experience is just elevated. It's snappy. Everything from opening apps to swiping around just flies. Also a big point for longevity, both of these phones have 8 GB of RAM. This is huge for multitasking. On older iPhones with 4 gigs or 6 gigs, you'd see background apps constantly reloading. It was super annoying. On both of these, apps stay open, it's reliable. Software-wise, both are running the latest iOS 26, and I really want to take a second to talk about this because iOS 26 is a massive shift. It's got this new liquid glass design language. Everything has this depth and fluidity to it. The new animations are just chef's kiss. Honestly, it makes iOS 18 feel old. I noticed a huge gap in just how things move. I will say when I first updated the 16 Pro to iOS 26, it ran a little warm for the first day or two. I think it was just re-indexing system files, you know how it is. But after that settled, it's been incredibly fluid. Now regarding Apple Intelligence, both phones support it, but I'm gonna be real with you guys, if it doesn't work perfectly for you or if you feel like it's lacking, don't worry about it. For me, it's not a huge deal. Apple Intelligence is still kinda in that early, almost beta feeling stage. I usually just find myself using alternatives like Gemini or ChatGPT because right now they're just more powerful for what I need. So don't buy the phone just for Apple's AI, buy it for the hardware. Let's check battery health. My 16 Pro, bought in January 2025, is still at 100% health with 166 cycles. With the new adaptive power feature in iOS 26, I can easily get a full day of use, social media, calling, some YouTube. The iPhone 17 is obviously fresh. 16 cycles, 100% health. It's a solid one-day phone actually. But here is a downside for the iPhone 17 you need to know about. The USB-C port. The iPhone 16 Pro has USB 3 speeds. It's super fast for transferring files. The iPhone 17, it's still stuck on slower speeds, basically USB 2, same as the old Lightning cables. If you transfer a lot of 4K video to your computer via cable, the 16 Pro is gonna save you a lot of time. Okay, next up, cameras. And this is where the iPhone 16 Pro really fights. I'm gonna give the win to the 16 Pro for the rear cameras, but I wanna be clear about why. It's basically all about flexibility. When you compare the main 48 megapixel camera and the ultra wide on both of these phones, honestly, the results are pretty much the same quality. I mean, looking at them side by side, the detail, the color science, dynamic range, it's almost identical. So if you just point and shoot at 1x or 0.5x, you're getting a top tier experience on both. But the 16 Pro pulls ahead because of that dedicated 12 megapixel 5x telephoto lens. That extra lens just gives you so much more flexibility. You can get those compressed, creamy portraits or reach far objects at concerts without losing quality. On the iPhone 17, you're stuck with digital zoom and it just can't compete with that optical glass. Plus, the Pro still has 4K 120fps video, which is just killer for cinematic shots. However, the iPhone 17 has a trick up its sleeve with the front camera. It's that new 18 megapixel sensor with the square shape. You guys have probably seen this. It's gone totally viral because you can take those landscape wide selfies while holding the phone vertically. It's actually really fun and super practical for group shots. So if you care about zoom and flexibility, 16 Pro. If you're a selfie person, the 17 is actually winning there. So which one should you buy? The iPhone 17 is fantastic. It's got the A19 chip. It finally has ProMotion 120Hz and that modern thin bezel look. It's the dream base model we've wanted. However, for my money, I'm actually going to recommend the iPhone 16 Pro. Here's why. The price has dropped, making it a steal. You're getting that titanium build, the faster USB 3 transfer speeds, and most importantly, that dedicated 5x telephoto lens. The performance gap between the A19 and the A18 Pro isn't actually that noticeable in daily use. They are both rockets. The 16 Pro just offers a more complete, versatile package for the price right now. It's still incredibly relevant. But hey, that's just my take. Let me know in the comments, are you Team Telephoto or Team Viral Selfie Camera? Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.